gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of the Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, Quinn. At least that's how I'm known here on the program, and at this point, literally nowhere else. And I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. You just heard Revel 9's All I've Become at the top of the show. That's been our opening theme song here at the Quinn Spinn since the great year of 2014, and it will be through 2025 and until the end of days. I'm glad to be back, by the way. Thanks to everybody for all of your support through the road to South by Southwest, and of course, on the new book, 60 Plus Lessons from the Creative Journey. Very much appreciated, and I'm back with an episode I actually recorded before the holidays with Jacob Elyachar of the Jake's Take podcast and jakestake.com. And he's here to talk about his journey becoming this prolific podcaster. He's now surpassed 350 episodes. I've had the honor of being a guest on 3 of those. And we talk about the journey and what's to come here. He's now, of course, in season 6. And also, you'll notice my hair is going to grow in a minute. This was recorded before I got it cut in December. So still get a little bit of long-haired Quinn, long-haired G, however you know me, before it goes away forever. I already recorded some short-haired episodes. Let's get the long-haired ones out of the way, and let's check in with Jake right now. All right, everyone. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I am joined by a very special guest today, Jacob Elyachar of the Jake's Take podcast and jakestake.com. And what Jake's doing is he's giving readers and listeners an investigative approach to the world of pop culture and entertainment. And I've had a chance to actually be on Jake's Take now 3 times. So thanks, Jake, of course, for having me on and having me back multiple times. And thank you for joining us here for your Quinn Spinn debut.
Gerard, it's so nice to finally be here. I cannot believe it's taken us this long to get out here, but I'm very grateful to be here.
Glad to have you. And yeah, I mean, schedules being what they are, it looks like we're going to have to catch up and get you on a couple more times too, just so we're keeping it even. But we'll start here today. And we'll start here. Of course, I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask every guest of the show. Those 3 questions are: who are you? What are your passions? And why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn?
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Jacob Elyachar. I'm based out of Overland Park, Kansas. I am a reporter, a podcaster, and content creator. I started my journey way back in 2011 after I graduated college. It was the height of the Great Recession, and finding a job in broadcast journalism or in news media or any job in that matter, it's like finding a diamond needle in a field of a golden haystacks. So I started my own blog, jakes-take.com. It was originally my first name, my last name, and journalist, but Jacob Elyachar Journalist. Can you type it out, folks? But then I started seriously when it was the jakes-take.com. I'm like, okay, at the time, Harvey Levin and Perez Hilton were really taking dumps on entertainment journalism. I loved Mary Hart retired from Entertainment Tonight. Access Hollywood was going under a major renovation. Entertainment Tonight was where Nancy O'Dell was coming in. So it was at the time when I started, it was a major overhaul of what I had, of what the journalism world was seeing. So I really wanted to say, hey, let me showcase what I got as a storyteller. And I showed my passions, which were music, comic books, and reality television. It all started, this whole journey started when I was growing up, and I was watching daytime television and, of course, morning news. So it's the height of Katie Couric, Brian Gumbel, Matt Lauer, Ann Curry, Meredith Vieira, Barbara Walters, Rosie O'Donnell, Regis Philbin, Kathy Lee Gifford, Oprah, and the final days of Phil Donahue. So those great people were really, and their products were very important to me growing up, as I tried to learn from them and I said, I want to go to journalism school. And I didn't want to go to KU because at the time I was growing up in high school, I thought it was going to be high school 2.0 all over again. And at the time, Denver was at number 19 of the Nielsen spots. So that way I could try to, and CU has a prestigious journalism school at the time. And I wanted to go and be a part of there, tell the stories. I spent 3.5 years of student media, and I actually interned at both the Fox 4 affiliate, the ABC affiliate in Denver, and the NBC affiliate in Denver, but the Fox 4 was affiliate based in here in Kansas City. So I had that background. And then when I started jakestake.com, it opened the doors for me to be a freelancer for examiner.com, now Access, now which is now defunct, and comic book resources and OnStars and Tech Times. So those are my passion. But why I'm here is because because the thing is, Gerard, I want to be a podcaster that your audience and the underground music collective can get to know. I have championed a lot of artists, and if you go on my jakes-shake.com, my artists to watch, I normally have anywhere between 3 to maximum 7 artists I highlight on a bi-weekly music review.
Amazing. And you're doing amazing work. And I love that our stories are pretty similar coming out of college because I graduated in 2010. And same thing, where I majored in English with a graphic design minor. Goal was to go into journalism. And you were finding freelance gigs, but like it's not like they paid that well. It's not like they were really even pouring in. It was really tough sledding those first couple of years, I think, for both of us. And so I want to highlight that because I think when you're in that position and you have to try to make something work, you turn to your own resourcefulness, you turn to your own skill set. And that's what you've done here. And it's created a lot of opportunities for you through the years to not only find other work, but to connect the dots to a lot of people, organizations, and communities, of course, that maybe you wouldn't have had access to. So what did leaning into your own skills and your own entrepreneurial spirit help you to do, and what did it teach you along the way?
Well, gotta say, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad started Gem Commercial Flooring, a flooring company from 2003 up to 20 for over 20 years. And then on top of that, my uncle David and my uncle Adam started Big Bob's Flooring, which has been in Kansas City since the 1980s. And then if you go back on my mom's side, my family came from a grocery family. And I think I was embedded with that entrepreneurship right there. However, it wasn't carpet or groceries that was my passion. Was not much my passion. It was basically what I wanted to do was basically I wanted to be like an anchor. I wanted to have be like Barbara Walters and Regis and interview the likes of of 20. I wanted to have the conversations with Tom Hanks. I want to have a conversation with Dolly Parton. I want to have a conversation with this Barbara Streisand and Stevie Wonder and all those amazing people that I've seen throughout my entire life. And so I said, okay, let's start with Jake's Take. And I got my very first guest was a guy named James Sisamames, who was actually a creative storyteller and when I did music at the time under the name of Simi Beats. And he was my very first interview all the way in Australia. And little by little, I started to get pitches from places such as Impact Media. Shout out to my friend Beatrice Kimmel, and then Anderson Group Media Public Relations, and then also leading up to 42nd West. And I'm like, oh wow, these guys really are pitching me their people. And I'm like, I would love to sit down with them. And then even Webster Public Relations, when I got their email, I'm like, okay, wow, can I really have this opportunity to sit down with Dolly Parton? Yes. And I imagined twice that Dolly, unfortunately was under a call with 12 dozen reporters, of course, but like to have Dolly answer my question twice in my career, that's a major win. And being on the phone with 12 other dozen reporters, talking to late Kenny Rogers, or just going one-on-one with Gordon Lightfoot, when those opportunities happen? And then to more recently with my podcast, I never imagined going one-on-one with Howie Mandel, talk about Canada's Got Talent, or Trish Stratus, or Lindsay Ell, or maybe getting invited into the press room for AGT during one of the pandemic seasons and having my questions answered by Howie and Heidi and Terry Crews. And one of the people that started me with my music reviews and my critiquing, Mr. Simon Cowell. I never thought that would be possible, and those roads would be there.
And it does. It opens up a world of possibilities and helps you have experiences, build relationships that wouldn't have been possible had you never started the thing. Let's go back to the beginning of Jake's Take. And when you were first starting out, was there anything in particular that helped you get going? Or was it simply a matter of just picking a starting point and going from there?
Well, I said, okay, X Factor USA started its very first season. I'm like, okay, I want to cover it. And then Once Upon a Time was in starting its second season. I'm like, okay, those are my two passions. I'm going to do that. And then I'm like, it was the height of 2011 because you had Beyonce's Four, Lady Gaga, Born This Way, Britney Spears, Femme Fatale, Adele's 21. All these incredible albums were dropping left, right, back to back. These defined pop for a decade. And I'm like, I want to give my take on it. I want to share my expertise and see what I can go from there. So that's how I started. And then slowly but surely, I'm like, okay, let's start. America's Got Talent. American Idol's coming back for season 12. I missed it because season 11, no, sorry. America's Got Talent came back for season 11. I missed season 10 because I was graduating college at the time. I didn't have that time to do it. So let me start my pitch my own work. Howard Stern's coming to AGT, replacing Piers Morgan. Okay, I'm in. Let's see what happens with Howard and see if he was going to cause this chaos on AGT. But he didn't, and it elevated AGT. And now we're entering season 20 this year, and I'm already starting. Sorry for a spoiler. I've already starting to select 50 acts for my top 100 acts of all time for that show. Mm-hmm. I never imagined starting from scratch what it could lead.
And I think passion, of course, is an important thing, like really having a passion for what you do, because that ultimately is going to be what helps you navigate the challenges, right? Because the challenges are going to arise no matter what. You know, you're going to hit bumps in the road, you're going to experience setbacks. And at those points, like the prospects of fame and money and the superficial things won't necessarily carry you through quite like a belief in yourself and what you're doing. But I want to touch on challenges too, and talk about any challenges that you've experienced along the way, you know, as far as building the platform or as far as anything else that has informed your perspective in building the platform.
I think you have to have a balance. It's like, yes, because I'm building a platform, but however, it's money. And like, yes, it's a passion of mine, but like I have to work and I still have to have a connection to the real world and have a job. And at the same time, it's been rough to look for those, not just to look for the jobs, at the same time, keep your platform going, keep your passion burning. It's having those right mixes. And like, yes, do I have to miss it? Do I have to cut back because I just started a job after the first time in 15 months of employment? Yes. Yes, but at the same time, I'd rather have a paycheck than live on the streets. And yeah, that's a challenge. It's like to find that happy medium. Another thing is just because I have a podcast doesn't mean that people want to come on it. And I'm like, there was this time where I got turned down a couple of times by several big reality TV world and the MTV people. And I'm like, I've been offering them for interviews for months, and I've been trying to get them for a podcast for months. And they said, unfortunately, not at this time. But months later, I look and I see her on my friends and my colleagues. So yes, it's jealousy. Jealousy is there. And yes, it's like not getting the interview, but at the same time, it's like, you're going to have to build. Do you really want to work yourself up and try to go just torpedo them? Because otherwise, the thing that you built the most is going to come back and bite you. So definitely fighting the ego has been a huge thing, huge challenge for me. But also getting the support of my family as well. Because the thing is, I love my platform, but they're like job. And also you can chase it later. And like, you need to focus on your job search. But however, my mentors who work in media say, Jacob, do not let Jake's take go burn out. You have to find the proper medium. It's like, you're not going to be happy pleasing one or the other. And like the thing in that, so finding that balance for me has always been important. And I think these challenges made me stronger, but also at the same time, it's also difficult to find podcast guests. Like there's been like this year alone, it's been like the first half of the year, bam, they're filled with guests. And I was still getting interviews left and right. But as the year's gone winding down, it's been really hard to get people. But I'm grateful for people like you, Gerard, that came to my rescue, and to have people to come on my podcast just to get season 7. But like, it's a fine line trying to pursue your podcast, just get guests, but also and make sure that your brand's alive, but at the same time have to stick to reality and also your person as an employee and also trying to be in the real world.
I love what you said about checking the ego because I think that's really important when rejection happens to not take it personally because it's just part of the game. I think no matter where you are in the entertainment industry, no matter where you are in the creative space, like not everyone's going to pick up what you're putting down. Not everyone's going to say yes. Not everyone's going to say yes necessarily at this time, although they may later. And I think it's really important to take that rejection as feedback and go inward and say, what can I do better? How can I build a better boat? How can I move toward opportunities that are more aligned with me? And that's not just professionally. That's life. That's relationships, right? Somebody rejects you romantically, well, then obviously that person wasn't right for you, right? Somebody, if you get turned down for a job, well, it wasn't a right fit for whatever reason at the time. Use the feedback, don't take it personally, move forward. I also want to talk about the idea of balance too, because that is such a hard thing to maintain. And I think a lot of folks have this idea, and I've certainly battled with this myself, that, okay, if I have a quote unquote real job, that I'm not a real entrepreneur. And I think that is a very flawed way of thinking in a lot of ways, especially for people who are up and coming and building their platforms, because the truth is you need to be able to stay alive. You need to be able to fund your life and fund your platform. And I think the balance to strike is, okay, how do I find something that's going to help sustain me, right? But also not take too much of my creative energy. And how am I going to manage the time around that? So I want to ask you about time management. And is there anything that you've tried or that you're implementing now that has really worked and helped you to strike that balance?
I gotta say this: the task list from Apple, and this is not I'm not endorsed by Apple, but like having those tasks is like reminding down putting everything into your calendar because that's way it's helped me out. I've also started writing and implementing an editorial calendar that I do every week before the end of the month to say, okay, these are the shows I need to cover. These are my music reviews. I look to see which artists are going to be releasing new music when, so I can probably do that. And then I think also, so the thing is, you don't need to you cannot overwhelm yourself, no matter, because it's one thing to overwhelm yourself with your brand. It's also overwhelming yourself at your work, your real life work. And you cannot do both at the same time because it's going to cause a lot of distractions. So what I normally do is every week, I always try to make sure to write down bullet points saying, okay, what do I need to do this week? Do I need to go to my gym? Am I shooting an episode with you? Am I shooting an episode down the line? And then this week, and then as we're talking, I'm writing my final music reviews for 2024, and those processes are slowly starting out. So, like everyone all the time says, how do you develop it? One piece at a time. So that's what I've been trying to do is to make sure that I don't overwhelm myself and start one thing and take one bite at a time.
So that's a great jumping off point as we head into 2025. Of course, as this premieres, we are in 2025. And let's talk about how you've prepared for this year and discuss what's upcoming, what's on tap. What are your goals, hopes, dreams here for the new year?
First of all, I never thought that my podcast would be entering season 6. When I started this podcast back in at the end of November 2019, I never thought it would be season 6. And first of all, guys, Gerard is one of my guests for season 6, and this will be his 3rd time on the podcast, which is amazing. And then also one of my dear mentors, Sean Edwards, who's an award-winning journalist. He's been celebrating 25 years at Fox 4 this year, is amazing. And then another one that I cannot wait to share with you guys is I'm a huge comic book fan and I love my superheroes. So I was so excited when I was able to get Lenore Zahn, the legendary voice actress who voiced Rogue on both X-Men, the original animated series, and the Disney Plus runaway hit X-Men 97. She'll be coming on as well. So those are 3 guests I'm excited to reel. And it feels like with this season, it's starting to look like, okay, how can I about personal growth? It's feeling like the guests I'm having on is about personal growth and building their own brands. And then, of course, there's some big milestone seasons as well through reality television. Survivor is celebrating 25 years on the air this year.
25.
America's got, yeah, a quarter of a century. I never thought that this show that started when I was in fifth grade would still be on the airwaves. And then, of course, my big passion, America's Got Talent, it's season 20. I never imagined I'm covering that season, and I've already starting to brainstorm the people I want to have on, and I would love to have on some of my favorite acts of all time. Some of them they'll be coming for their first conversation in years, but first they were featured on a blog. But hopefully, I'm getting it. Already working. I already have a list ready of the people I wanted to contact, and also divide out: is this their first time coming, or is this their first time but on the podcast, or are they returning? So this is I'm starting to organize and everything, and of course, there's also the challenge coming up. But like the thing is, there are some dream guests I want to have. It'd be an honor to talk with Simon to talk about the 20th season of AGT. It'd be a great talk with Jeff Probst to talk about the 25th year of Survivor on CBS. Those are some of my dream goals, and maybe also talk with some of the big heavy hitters. Hoda Kotb, I have to talk with her after leaving NBC. I would love to. Those are stuff. Bobby Bones is another person I would love to speak with. Like, I want to start elevating my guests this summer with season 6 of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, and I really hope I can do that.
And I'm sure there are bright things in the future for you, and you just got to keep shooting your shot. And thank you again for the my third appearance on Jake's Take. It's always great to talk and just kind of see where we're at each checkpoint, and it's a refreshing opportunity to always, speak with somebody with your level of passion and dedication to your craft. So want to acknowledge you for that and show my appreciation for you continuing to welcome me back and continue to just ramble on as I do. So
the thing is, it's not, yes, I'm the host, but it's my guest time to shine. Like, the thing is like, yeah, you can probe how there's some stuff like the Howard Stern probing of interview style, the controversial Ellen probing style, and also the Barbara Walters school of interviewing. But the thing is, I want to talk about with my podcast. I've always bring out the journey, basically your origin story, the challenges that you faced, your most famous project, what's up and coming, and just give a quick teaser about my third conversation with Gerard. I talked about the incredible opportunities of the Underground Music Collective, especially with the Academy. Because I have audience members that want to enter the art industry. So I want to bring out what advice they have, because one of the books that impacted me the most was Katie Couric's 2011, The Best Advice I've Ever Received. And that has helped me throughout my entire almost 14 years of doing blogging or podcasting.
Amazing. Well, so many great things to come. And of course, we want to give people the opportunity to check out Jake's Take. But before I have you hit them with the socials, I want to ask you a hot button question. And that question is, if there was or is one lesson that you've learned along the journey that young Jake would have benefited from knowing starting out, or that you would impart to somebody who is just starting their journey, what is that most important lesson?
The most important lesson is always continue to network and continue to follow up with people. It is the most important thing. Make a good impression. Try to always be positive. Don't try to spit. Like, the thing is, it's like, keep your nose to the grindstone and think about that goal. Because there's going to be some bright and shiny objects that are going to be on the road that's going to cause you to go onto a U-turn, and it's going to take you a while to get back on that road. So always make sure that you leave a great positive impression. Keep your nose to the grindstone, because yes, as much as we like seeing all the viral views of the now defunct TikTok, or like with Facebook or Instagram, to have those viral moments, it's all about what is your legacy. Two of my biggest heroes, Regis Philbin and Barbara Walters, of blessed memory, both of them had lengthy careers that lasted 50 years. I want to be like that person, like them, to have a career that's over 50 years, not just and not end up on like Entertainment Weekly or People's or AB or Good Morning because where are they now? It's better to have that goal in mind, to have a longevity. It's all about longevity. So build your relationships, make a good impression, and also keep your eyes on the prize.
Amazing, amazing insight. Jacob Elyachar with jakes-take.com and the Jake's Take podcast. Before I let you go, Jake, just want to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can learn more about you.
Alrighty, guys. If you want to check out episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, as of right now, there are over 330 of them. You can find us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeart. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, if you want to see Gerard's interviews, head to jakes-take.com. Once again, jakes-take.com. Gerard, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on. We'll definitely do this again. Can't wait to see how season 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 unfold. I'll be back to wrap it up in just a second. So there you have it, folk. I want to thank Jacob Elyachar of jakes-take.com. I remembered the dash this time in the outro, and the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast for joining me and talking about his inspiring journey creating this show from nothing more than an idea. Look at how far we've come. Jake, congratulations on 350 plus episodes. Here's to 350 plus more. And this has been the Quinn Spinn, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Also on the socials, specifically on Instagram at Quinn Spinn Official. Again, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. Underground Music Collective is our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, community, and more. UMCNashville.com will take you everywhere you need to go. You can find us on the socials. Now at UMC Worldwide. Remember, it's no longer UMC Nashville because we're worldwide and also met us. But also, I want to encourage you to click that join tab when you go to UMCNashville.com and join the Underdogs community. And if you're looking for coaching or some kind of brand guidance, go to the Academy tab, UMCNashville.com/academy. Let's connect. Let's help you define your artistic vision. And of course, don't forget to purchase 60 plus lessons from the creative journey available now on Amazon and Ingram Spark. Revel 9's All I Become going to take us out like it brought us in. Grab some muffins on your way out.